5 plants grow wild across 6 continents that turn contaminated water clear. No filter, no chemical, and no electricity. One sits in your kitchen right now, and the other one is classified as the most dangerous weed on Earth. The water industry, worth $46 billion, has never mentioned any of them. And by the end of this video, you will know all 5 and why a $100 billion industry made sure you never found out. Every year, billions of people drink water that could kill them. Not in some distant future, right now in villages across sub-Saharan Africa, in farming communities along the Ganges River Delta, in rural towns across Southeast Asia, where children walk 2 miles each morning to fill plastic jugs from a brown stream that runs past a factory. The solution the world offers them is always the same: buy something. A reverse osmosis unit, a UV sterilizer, a carbon filter with replacement cartridges that cost more per year than a family earns in a month. The global water purifier market hit $46 billion in 2024. It is projected to nearly double within a decade. The fastest growing segment is replacement filters, cartridges, membranes, consumables, products designed to be purchased again and again and again. Every solution the industry sells requires you to keep buying something. That is not a flaw in the system. That is the system. And the chemicals used in conventional water treatment are not clean either. Aluminum sulfate is the most common coagulant in municipal water plants across North America and Europe. It has been linked to neurological damage. Synthetic polymers used to settle particles out of drinking water are classified as environmental pollutants, toxic to aquatic life. The industry that sells you clean water contaminates it in the process. But what if the solution was never supposed to come from a factory? What if it was already growing in the ground? I am Harry, and here on Garden Explained, we dig into the plants the modern world forgot. The ones your ancestors relied on, the ones the research confirms, the ones nobody sells because nobody can own them. This is one of those stories. There is a tree that grows across the tropics, from northern India to sub-Saharan Africa to Central America. It survives drought, grows in poor soil, and reaches full height in under a year. Its seeds can turn a bucket of brown river water clear in 60 minutes. The tree is called Moringa oleifera. In parts of East Africa, they call it the miracle tree. In southern India, villagers have used its seeds to purify drinking water for generations. The method is simple. You take a dried seed, you crush it into powder, you stir it into dirty water, and you wait. What happens next is a process called flocculation. The proteins inside the moringa seed carry a positive electrical charge. The dirt and bacteria floating in the water carry a negative charge. When the crushed seed meets the contaminated water, the proteins grab the particles, bind to them, and force them to clump together into heavy masses that sink to the bottom of the container. Within 1 hour, the water above the sediment is clear. 1 seed per liter. That is the ratio. 1 single moringa seed purifies 1 liter of water. Researchers tested this across multiple contamination levels. In heavily polluted water, moringa seed powder reduced cloudiness by more than 99%. It wiped out harmful bacteria almost entirely. Against fecal contamination, it achieved 100% removal, not with chlorine, not with ultraviolet light, with a seed you can hold between 2 fingers, and it does not stop at particles. The proteins in moringa have direct antimicrobial properties. They disrupt the cell walls of dangerous bacteria. They do not just push the microbes to the bottom of the jar, they kill them on the way down. In 2026, scientists published new findings showing moringa seed extract can also remove microplastics from water. The proteins cause tiny plastic particles to clump and settle the same way they clump sediment. In some conditions, moringa outperformed the industrial chemical coagulants that treatment plants currently rely on. A Moringa tree produces seeds for decades. It does not require replanting. It barely needs water once established. It grows in exactly the regions where contaminated water kills the most children. One tree, decades of seeds, thousands of liters of clean water per year, all for free. And yet, in Ethiopia, where waterborne disease devastates communities every year, Moringa seeds remain almost entirely unused by the general population. The research is not missing. It has been published and confirmed in dozens of studies over 30 years. The seeds are not rare. They fall from the trees every season and rot on the ground. What is missing is distribution, and distribution requires money, and money follows products that generate recurring revenue. A seed that falls from a tree generates nothing. So the tree keeps growing, the seeds keep falling, and the filter cartridge industry keeps shipping product to people who could have planted a tree instead. Now here is where it gets personal, because the next plant is not growing in some tropical forest you will never visit. It is sitting in your refrigerator, or your herb garden, or a pot on your kitchen windowsill right now. Cilantro, coriander, the herb you chop into salsa, the one half the population insists tastes like soap. That herb pulls heavy metals out of contaminated drinking water. In 2013, a research team led by Douglas Schauer presented their findings at a meeting of the American Chemical Society in Indianapolis. They had been studying water contamination in the Tule Valley near Mexico City. For decades, Mexico City had dumped its wastewater into that valley. Local farmers used the polluted water to irrigate their crops. Lead, nickel, and other toxic metals traveled from the water into the soil, into the food, and into the bodies of the families eating it. The team needed a solution that farming communities could actually afford. They tested plants growing in the region, and they found that dried cilantro leaves absorbed heavy metals from water more effectively than activated carbon, the material inside nearly every commercial water filter sold on Earth. A handful of dried cilantro leaves from a Mexican roadside outperformed that standard filter material. The outer cell walls of cilantro contain natural compounds that attract metal ions. Lead, mercury, copper, nickel. The metals bind to the plant material and hold fast. The mechanism is well understood. The chemistry is not complicated. The herb grabs the poison and does not let go. The practical application is almost absurdly simple. Dry the cilantro leaves, crush them, place them in a small cloth pouch, drop the pouch into a pitcher of water, wait a few hours, remove the pouch. The water has less lead in it. That is the entire process. A commercial heavy metal filter costs between $40 and $200. Replacement cartridges cost $20 to $60 every few months. Cilantro grows from seed in 3 weeks. It bolts and reseeds itself in any garden it touches. It thrives in poor soil. It costs almost nothing, and it works. Yet no major water company has ever incorporated cilantro into a consumer product. No government agency has distributed it as a purification tool at scale. The peer-reviewed papers exist. The mechanism is confirmed. The cost is negligible, but the solution generates no revenue. So it sits in databases while communities in the Tule Valley keep drinking lead. The third plant on this list is the one that makes you angry, because this one is not just being ignored, it is being actively destroyed by governments with public money, while it does exactly what they are spending billions trying to accomplish. Water hyacinth is a floating aquatic plant with thick, glossy leaves and pale purple flowers. It originated in the Amazon basin of South America. Over the past century, it escaped and spread to every warm freshwater system on Earth. Lake Victoria in East Africa, the bayous of Louisiana and Florida, and rivers across India, China, and Indonesia have all been invaded. It doubles its biomass every 2 weeks. A single plant can produce thousands of offspring in under 2 months. It chokes waterways. It blocks boat traffic. It collapses fisheries. Every government with a tropical river has a water hyacinth eradication program. They spray herbicides from boats. Mechanical harvesters drag mats of vegetation from canals. Imported insects are bred in laboratories specifically to eat it. Hundreds of millions of dollars are spent every year across dozens of countries trying to kill this single plant. Here is what those agencies do not advertise. Water hyacinth is one of the most powerful biological water purifiers ever documented. A team of researchers tested water hyacinth in the River Aire near Leeds in the United Kingdom. They measured the plant's ability to pull heavy metals from the water. In just 7 hours, it removed over 60% of aluminum and zinc, nearly half the cadmium, and almost a quarter of the arsenic present. 7 hours of contact, not 7 months. 7 hours. Other research documented lead removal above 90%. The plant absorbs it into its tissue like a sponge soaking up a spill. This is not new science. Studies on water hyacinth as a purification tool stretch back to 1975 with over 4 decades of published evidence. Dozens of independent research teams on multiple continents confirm the same conclusion. The plant absorbs heavy metals, organic pollutants, and the excess nitrogen and phosphorus that cause toxic algal blooms in lakes and reservoirs. It takes the most dangerous contaminants in water and locks them inside its roots and leaves. 50 years of evidence, and the official global response is to spray it with herbicide and drag it to a landfill. The same governments spending fortunes to kill water hyacinth are spending even larger fortunes to build treatment facilities that accomplish the same thing. The plant cleans water and costs nothing. The facility cleans water and costs billions. One reproduces itself. The other requires permanent staffing, chemical inputs, concrete, steel, electricity, and replacement parts shipped across oceans. Water hyacinth cannot be contracted. It cannot be invoiced. It cannot generate a government procurement budget. It cannot fund a lobbying campaign. So it gets classified as invasive, classified as a nuisance, and the herbicide boats keep running. The fourth plant does something different from the first 3. It does not handle sediment, metals, or bacteria. It destroys industrial poison, horseradish, the root you grate onto roast beef, the pungent condiment that clears your sinuses at holiday dinners. That root contains one of the most extensively studied enzymes in all of biochemistry. It is called horseradish peroxidase. This enzyme does something remarkable when it encounters phenols. Phenols are toxic aromatic compounds. They pour out of oil refineries, chemical manufacturing plants, textile factories, and paper mills. They are among the most common industrial pollutants found in rivers and groundwater worldwide. They cause liver damage, kidney failure, and nervous system disorders. And they are notoriously difficult to remove using conventional water treatment. Horseradish peroxidase dismantles them. The enzyme uses hydrogen peroxide to oxidize the phenol molecules. It forces them to bond together into large chains that become insoluble in water. They solidify, they fall out of solution. The dissolved poison becomes a physical sediment you can separate and remove. Under controlled conditions, researchers achieved nearly 90% removal of phenol and over 90% removal of chlorophenol from industrial wastewater, using an enzyme extracted from a root that grows in any backyard garden across the temperate zone. The irony here is staggering. The pharmaceutical and diagnostic industries already use horseradish peroxidase every day. It is a critical component in medical testing, embedded in pregnancy test strips sold in pharmacies around the world. It is used in cancer diagnostics and in laboratory assays that generate billions of dollars annually. They extract the enzyme, they purify it, they patent the application, and they sell it at premium prices. But using the raw root to clean the wastewater that those same industries produce, that line of research stays on the fringe, underfunded and unpromoted, sitting in academic journals that almost nobody outside a university library will open. A horseradish root grows in any temperate garden. It spreads aggressively through the soil. Most gardeners consider it a nuisance because they cannot stop it from expanding. It produces the exact enzyme capable of neutralizing the exact poisons that modern industry dumps into waterways every day, and nobody is telling you about it. The fifth and final entry on this list is not a single species, it is not a flower, it is not a herb, it is not a weed, it is every tree on Earth. In 2014, a researcher named Rohit Karnik and his team at MIT in Cambridge, Massachusetts, published findings that should have changed the conversation about clean water forever. They took a small piece of sapwood from a white pine tree. They peeled off the bark. They cut a disc about 1 inch thick. They fitted it into a plastic tube. They poured water contaminated with dangerous bacteria through the wood. The bacteria did not pass through. The reason lies in a structure called Xylem. It's the tissue inside sapwood that carries water from a tree's roots up to its leaves. Every vessel in the Xylem network is lined with tiny natural membranes. These membranes contain pores small enough to block bacteria and other pathogens. The tree developed this system to prevent air bubbles from spreading through its vascular tissue. But those same pores also trap the microorganisms that make people sick. Trees have been filtering water for 300 million years. Since before dinosaurs existed, the filtration technology was always there, inside every pine tree, every spruce, every cedar, every fir, every conifer growing in every forest on every continent. By 2021, the MIT team had refined their design. A small disc of sapwood about 4 centimeters wide. Water poured through it at a rate of 1 liter per hour. It removed bacteria. It removed rotavirus. It met the World Health Organization's second highest classification for household water treatment. Not the lowest tier, the second highest. A small section of a branch, a knife, gravity, clean water. The cost is almost unmeasurable. The materials grow on trees, literally. The MIT team published an open source website with free instructions for building Xylem filters from various tree species. They designed the system so anyone in any village anywhere on Earth could build a working water filter with no electricity and almost no tools. The replacement cost for a Xylem filter is 10 to 100 times lower than any commercial gravity filter on the market today. 3 cubic centimeters of sapwood can produce enough clean water for 1 person per day. The wood is biodegradable. It is lightweight. It requires no supply chain, no factory, no subscription. And here is the fact that should keep you awake tonight. This technology is published. It is open source. It is free. It works. The World Health Organization acknowledges its effectiveness. The instructions are available to anyone with an internet connection, and the global water filter industry continues to grow by billions of dollars every year, selling proprietary membranes, patented cartridges, subscription refill programs, products engineered to be replaced on a schedule, products that did not exist when every village on Earth had access to a pine tree and a knife. A tree branch is not a product. It cannot be branded. It cannot be licensed. It cannot generate quarterly earnings. The Moringa keeps dropping seeds whether anyone picks them up or not. The cilantro keeps bolting and reseeding in every garden it touches. The water hyacinth keeps doubling every 14 days no matter how much herbicide gets sprayed from government boats. The horseradish keeps spreading through the soil until you cannot dig it all out. And every conifer on Earth is filtering water through its xylem right now, this second. While you are listening to this, these plants do not need the industry. They do not need funding. They do not need permission. They are already cleaning the water. Oh, and if longevity fascinates you, my friend runs a channel called The Centenarian's Garden, all about blue zone secrets and what actually helps people live past 100. Go check them out. You won't regret it.